Okay, so in the last few videos we talked about how to solve a quadratic using factoring. So basically we took and we set everything equal to 0, had it written in standard form, and then we factored what we knew, and then we set those factors equal to 0 and solved for x, and that's how we found where the parabola crossed or intersected with the x-axis. That's the solution or solutions. Sometimes it's not easy to factor something. There's no real way that we can see to do that, and so we have to have another way to solve without using factoring. And so that's where this quadratic formula, this right here, comes into play. Okay, this formula is something that we can use, and it would work on something that's easily factored, or but most of the time we use it for something that you can't just automatically factor. But if you're struggling with factoring trinomials or something like this might be a better option for finding solutions for you, because you can just plug in the information and solve. So we'll try out a few examples and see what you think about it, and then we'll go from there. So here are the steps. You want to make sure that the equation is set equal to 0 and written in standard form, just like the previous method. You're going to find out what a, b, and c are, and then you're going to substitute them into the quadratic formula, and you're just going to simplify to find your answers. So if you'll notice, parts of this formula are familiar to you, or should be. So b squared minus 4ac, that's what we used for the factor test to find out if something could be factored. It's also what we used for the discriminant to find out whether or not, or how many solutions that a trinomial would have if we factored it, or how many solutions a quadratic would have, if we factored it. The other part of this that should be familiar is this negative b divided by 2a. That's the formula we use to find the axis of symmetry. So all of these pieces we've been using play a part, and now we're just going to put them into this one formula. So let's start by identifying our a, b, and c. This is already in standard form and set equal to 0. So a in this case is 1, b is negative 5, and c is negative 36. So we're going to take and plug everything into this formula right here. So x is equal to, negative is part of the formula. Then we use our parentheses and we plug in the b value, which is negative 5. We use plus or minus, okay, because that's going to give us those two solutions that we're typically looking for. Now sometimes there's only one, but there may be two solutions, so that's where that plus or minus comes in. The square root of b, again, negative 5 squared. That negative 5 needs to be in parentheses because that's what's being squared, the whole b value, minus 4, and then in parentheses a, which is 1, and c, which is negative 36, divided by 2 times a, which is 1. Okay, so here we're going to start simplifying. So I'm going to start by simplifying what's inside of the square root symbol, because that's where we're going to consider that as a group. Okay, so we're going to start there. So first off, this negative and a negative is going to become positive, so I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite it as a positive 5. And then under the square root, we have this right here, which is exponent, so negative 5 times negative 5 is a positive 25. And then we have multiplication, negative 4 times 1 times negative 36. And if you use your calculator for that, negative 4 times positive 1 times negative 36 is a positive 144. And then we divide by, what's 2 times 1? It's just 2. So now we're going to simplify a little bit further. We still have that 5 plus or minus the square root. 25 plus 144 is 169 divided by 2. Okay, so now we end up with 5 plus or minus the square root of 169 is 13, still over 2. So here it splits into 2. We have either x is equal to 5 plus 13 divided by 2, and x is equal to 5 minus 13 divided by 2. Okay, so this plus or minus, I just split it into 2 now. So 5 plus 13 is 18 divided by 2, so that's 9. And 5 minus 13 is going to be negative 8 divided by 2, which is negative 4. So I end up with the two solutions of x is equal to -4 and +9. And again, I can check those answers. I can graph it and make sure that that's where it crosses the x-axis, but that is the correct answer for this problem. Okay, so it's just a matter of plugging in information. We'll do a couple more examples with these in the next videos, and hopefully that'll be a little clearer for you.